everyone. My name is David Pollia here, back with another Wednesday episode of Hawk Talk. We have another great crew with us, by the way, here. Minus one person, Carson, unfortunately, cannot be here with us today. He is feeling a little under the weather. So, Carson, if you're watching, I hope you feel better soon. But we still have Zach, who also is feeling a little under the weather, but he's a trooper and was able to come, so appreciate that, Zach. We got Ryan here, and then the fishbowl, the usual guys. We have Alex and Rance. So, yeah, we got a great show for you guys today. Got some interesting topics. And yeah, let's just get right into it. So, first of all, what the? That's weird. Anyway, so, my bad. But, yeah, we got a great list of topics for you here today. But first of all, we need to talk about the obscure sports segment, a thing we're continuing this year. We've done a couple of them already, and I was thinking to myself when I was creating the topic list, I was like, we're talking about obscure sports here, and sports that people don't really, talk about when they think of conventional sports. Why haven't I talked about what is quite literally this year the most rapid growing obscure sport in the world, which is pickleball? I don't know if you guys know this, and that's weird for me to say because that's, a game that I know we were talking earlier is just something that I used to play in like middle school and high school and like gym class and stuff, but pickleball is really taken off. It is being, there's leagues popping up all around the country. There's people like LeBron James, David Beckham, Serena Williams even are endorsing pickleball and, investing in it. And I think that's really interesting. And for those of you who don't know, it's pretty much, to my knowledge, it's pretty much just like soccer and basketball combined, right? Okay. But, yeah, I think it's really interesting because, it's just, I'm thinking of speedball, sorry. But, I think it's interesting because, you don't usually think about multiple sports being combined like that. But I think it could be a really fun thing to play with multiple people. But I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on pickleball. We'll start with you, Zach.
Yeah, I just remember even back in my days in middle school, there was one week in our gym class where we played pickleball, and there was one time, when I was playing pickleball, and so there's literally a stands or everything right in front of me, so
right.
Really, that's where I was at. It was right in front of me, and I accidentally hit the pickleball way too hard. It ended up going into the stands. It ended up hitting somebody in the head.
Oh my God!
And literally, once that happened, I yelled, "My bad."
Yeah, no, that's it's crazy because I know that tennis players when they're serving, I've heard I saw an interview with not Rafael, well that's one of them, but Novak Djokovic, and he was saying that he literally practices serving 100 times a day.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I think that's not really his name.
Oh, is it not?
No, it's you mean Djokovic?
Oh, did I pronounce it wrong?
It's Novak Djokovic.
Djokovic, okay. I look at that, and I guarantee you I don't get that right first try.
I haven't gotten it right either the first time. Either.
Yeah, so Novak Djokovic, funny enough, actually, him and I share the same birthday, both born on May 22nd. That's just why I brought him. But I know I saw an interview where he's he practices serving 100 times a day. And for someone who, probably didn't practice serving for pickleball 100 times a day, I can understand how something like that might happen every once in a while. But Ryan, what about you, man? You ever play pickleball in high school or anything?
Yeah, I played times in high school. I feel like pickleball is like tennis.
Yeah, it really is.
Pickleball, you play with this very much smaller racket.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, but I remember playing pickleball in high school with my PE class.
Yeah, it seems like a popular PE game.
Yeah, it seems like a very popular thing to play in high school or middle school.
Right. Alex, what about you?
Yeah, I know it's been a huge growing thing lately. I'm still yet to really play it. I know it's especially big in elderly communities and such, among the older crowds. But I've also seen it I've been on a walk around the campus, and I'll see people playing it on the tennis courts here. There's a whole groups of them, swaths of people playing. It makes sense. It seems like a really simple game to pick up. It's much like tennis, but it's smaller, easier scale, kind of slower speed, because it's just like instead of a racket, you got more like a ping pong paddle, and you're playing with like a wiffle ball or something. Like it just seems like lesser stakes. You can kind of keep track of things a bit easier.
Right.
Playing like twos and stuff, but I
Mhm.
don't know. It seems interesting enough, I'll admit, but it seems like definitely the easier version of tennis in a way.
Yeah. What about you, Rance?
Well, with me playing pickleball, I mean, I played it a couple times, but I kind of think it's like my first time playing it. I was like, wow, this is like tennis,
Right.
but it's not tennis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of the whole thought process, that it's like tennis, but it's like a little easier. But
It's like a mini golf for golf.
yeah, that's actually a really good comparison. I was thinking about that. It's just like tennis for casuals, pretty much.
Exactly.
But you gotta make sure that when you're playing, you gotta get like the grunts down. You know what I mean? Like in like Wimbledon, that just sounds like I always like to think that like Wimbledon players, they just practice like crushing their fingers in like vice grips or something, and then screaming, and then just like making that their scream to like when they full force when they serve. But
It's like a sound bite. Like they just keep hitting the same button every time they serve.
yeah, it really is. Just don't listen to don't listen to radio of tennis if you don't want people to think you're doing something weird. Like, don't listen to tennis in the library without your headphones in, because you might get kicked out of the library.
I wonder what like tennis announcing is like. like 'cause you really got to kind of wait for like the end of it. For
And the ball
results.
goes to the left side,
And
and the
to the
right
right.
side,
And
and
hits
to
the
the
net.
left side. Oh, it hit the net. Wow, this is riveting.
15 love. So it's just, you gotta wait.
Yeah, you gotta. Yeah, it's you can't take like a second off, because you're gonna like miss like 20 years of gameplay. But yeah, so I figured that'd be a pretty cool. I don't know why that wasn't like the first thing I thought of, because like literally in the year of 2023, it is the fastest growing sport in popularity.
I still wanna know,
Source, trust me, bro.
Oh yeah, no, I trust you. How is like LeBron like investing? In
I
this?
don't know. Like
Why?
I was talking to my girlfriend, who is she works with the Milwaukee Business Journal, and she did like a whole like write up on it, and she said that there have been more pickleball leagues that have been like popped up around like the tri-state area, like in the last like year or so, than there have ever been. Which I don't know how many pickleball leagues there have been to begin with.
I would say probably not many.
But yeah, so there's like a bunch popping up. So I thought that would be a pretty interesting thing to talk about. But anyways, guys, time to get into our first featured topic, which is on something that I know Alex and I have a huge love-hate relationship with, and that is fantasy football. Fantasy football is truly like going on a roller coaster. You have the highest of highs, and then you have some low lows. There's nothing worse than waking up on a Sunday, or waking up on a Monday morning after a long, Sunday slate of games, and realizing that if you would have started one player over another player, you would have won your week. I had something happen. I think I got caught up in the Sky Moore hype train, and I started Sky Moore over like, I don't even remember. I think it was like Brandon Cooks, and Sky Moore got 0.4 points in week 1, and Brandon Cooks got like 6, and I lost by like 4 points, and I was like, this is, man. But on the opposite side, when you win a close game, it's like you feel on top of the world. It's a love-hate relationship. But I figure this week, I believe, it's week 7, right? 8.
Yeah,
So
into
it is.
eight, yeah, opposite.
It is
Something
pretty
like
much the halfway point of the fantasy football season. So we're getting to the point where we kind of know what guys are going to consistently produce, like, the Tyreek Hills, once he comes back, like the Justin Jeffersons, the Derrick Henrys, those type of players. But I figure, every season in the NFL, there's players who drastically outperform expectations, who are huge surprises and are just, come out of nowhere and like are producing at a level we didn't think they could. And the same thing goes for fantasy football. So I figured we could talk about some fantasy football overachievers and some guys that, have been, potential league winning players that, you wouldn't have thought they would be at the start of the regular season. So Rance, how about you, man? What's one player that's been a huge surprise for you this year?
Well, number one player that been a huge surprise for me was Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, yeah. No, he's been a great like. Don't know. You never have to worry about your production at quarterback when you get him.
No, never do, never will. But also another player, I would have to go with my boy Jamal Chase. Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like,
Hey.
it's-
Yes, sir. Hey, he's always open. Yeah. No, he had a bit of a slow start too, but he's been automatic these last couple weeks.
uh,
Alex, what about you?
I mean, I feel like there's one easy answer. I'm gonna avoid it for at least a little bit. I feel like there's other like deeper cuts to go for. I think I'm gonna pull the trigger. I'm gonna go with Sam Howell.
Oh, that's a good one.
I've been enjoying him lately this year. I don't want to say I was like too high going into the year, but it's like, yeah, there's a chance. There's still a chance.
Yeah,
because I know,
didn't even think of that. That's a great
I think
pick.
he's from North Carolina. Last year was
Yeah.
drafted, but it was not a good. No, the year before. Was it?
No, yeah, he was
It
in
last
he
year.
was in like the Kenny Pickett, Malik Willis,
Brock
that draft
Purdy.
class. Yeah. Yep.
Okay, yeah, so he was. So there's a lot of guys, like not a lot of not a lot of hype, not a lot of first rounders, but it's like, going into that season, he was
Right.
supposed to be a first rounder, fell off, was taken in like the 4th round, but I mean, you look at
No, he was like the 6th round.
6th round.
Yeah, no,
Wow.
he fell.
It really did fall.
He fell.
But I've been excited with him. They seem to be doing well. Obviously, he's got a great receiving core, so that's always something good to fall back
Yeah.
on. But you look at some of the production, he's put up like 21, 19, 25, 18. Like, that's some solid numbers. It's not every week. Every now and again, he'll maybe have a slump, but I feel like for the most part, it's just consistency that he needs to work on. But he's putting up some nice points.
Yeah, I mean, for somebody who had relatively low expectations, he's currently listed, and all these stats are going to be on the ESPN fantasy app, by the way. For I know that they score differently than Yahoo, which is one that a lot of other people are using. But ESPN Fantasy, he's listed as the 11th ranked quarterback right now, which a lot of people probably didn't think, and currently rostered in 31% of leagues. But that is he's gone up plus 12% in the last week. And yeah, I'm actually playing against him this week, so I'm hoping that he has, obviously he's essentially a rookie. He only played in one game last year. He had 25, 18, and then only 9 points in Week 7 against the Giants. So I'm hoping that a little bit of consistency breaks off my way. But yeah, no, that's a great pick. Ryan, what about you?
I would say it's Rasheed Mo.
Raheem Mostert?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was gonna be mine.
He's 5th in yards per carry.
Right.
Yeah, and then
Yes, sir.
I don't know. I guess
I got him. He's my running back
I think
too right now.
this week, this website I found, it says, so I think Dolphins are playing the Patriots, right?
Yes, this week they are. Yes. Yep.
Yeah, so it's this website I found, it says the Patriots allowed the lowest yards per carry. They're tied with the Bears.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Especially since Devon A-Chain, who was going to be another guy I was going to talk about, is hurt, so he'll probably be getting the bulk of the touches again.
Yeah.
I remember I was going to sign A-Chain. It's like, oh, you want to know, maybe he does have something other than
Yeah.
like that first
So
week,
like, I
does it
think
again.
it'll be interesting to see him
Right.
against this. Well,
I'm against a good Patriots run
I'd say
defense.
this okay Patriots defense.
Yeah, no, funny thing. So I play Dynasty Fantasy Football, which is basically where it's a multi-year league, so you keep all your players. And I've been in it since 2019, and I had Mostert, and he was literally just like an afterthought. Like, I drafted him as like one of my last players drafted, and I was actually thinking about dropping him because nobody wanted him in a trade because he was just kind of mid last year. And then with A-Chain and Jeff Wilson Jr., I was like, this is probably like I might honestly just drop him. And he is currently the number 2 running back in fantasy right now, rostered in 98% of leagues. At the start of the season, he was rostered at the beginning of week 1 in 52% of leagues. I remember because I have him, and now he is like the most rostered running back and has had the most points out of any running back in week 3 versus Denver. 45 points with 82 yards on only 13 attempts, 3 rushing touchdowns, and then another 60 yards on 7 targets and a touchdown as well. He's had 13, 25, 45. He had a bad week 4, then 15, and then another 34 2 weeks ago against the Panthers. He's been absolutely feasting. I'm not going to say it's because he's like a super talented running back. I think it's kind of similar to the James Conner situation where he's literally just the only guy, especially now that A-Chain is out. He is like the only guy. And knowing that, he's one of the most injury-prone backs, I'm just crossing my fingers, knock on wood, that he can stay healthy because he has been such a, for my team specifically, he's been such a good streamer of points. But that's a great one, Ryan. Zach, what about you?
I'm trying to remember this one player from the Rams.
Puka Nakua?
Yeah,
Yep.
too. Like, he's been impressed, too. Yeah, the guy's been taking over for Cooper Kupp since, he's injured right now, I believe.
Right, yeah. No, I think he was a 6th-round draft pick this year as a rookie. That's a great pick, man.
Yeah, he's been very impressive.
Yeah, and especially, I think it's good. I think it's really interesting that he's been able to sustain that production even after Cooper Kupp went out because he actually last week had, I believe it was he had 23 points, 12 targets, 154 yards. He didn't have a touchdown, but the fact that Matthew Stafford still threw his way 12 times, which was the second highest on the team after Kupp, with Kupp healthy, says, I think, a lot about the future of that. I mean, obviously, the guy, I put in a claim for him at the start, after week 3, but I just wasn't high enough on the waiver wire. The guy in my league that got, I was like, man, you got a steal. Because he's been, that's literally, he wasn't, I'm pretty sure, I don't know how much he was rostered, but it couldn't have been more than, 5-10%. And now, he has 3 30-point games, 2 20-point games. He's just been absolutely unbelievable. It truly shows you that, production can come from, the most unlikely of places. But yeah, that's a very good one. I'm going to go for mine, one that's a little bit, I don't know if it's a bit of a stretch, but it's, and it might also be because of the situation he's in, but DeAndre Swift has been very, very good.
Oh, yeah.
He is, and I'm not saying, the guys that we've mentioned before aren't really, star players. And, I mean, DeAndre Swift, I wouldn't really call a huge star, but he always was, incredibly talented. I think just last year injuries, but also getting outproduced by someone who's not as good at as him and Jamal Williams. But this year, he's been completely healthy, and he had a bad week 1 where he only got 1 attempt. But ever since that, 27 points, 14, 17, 16, 17, and 10.5. He's been one of the most consistent producers at the running back position, which, as we all know, really fluctuates up and down. So any type of consistency is really good. Currently listed as the number 6 back on fantasy and averaging 15.5 points per game. So that's, I feel like, obviously that's a name that a lot of people know, but not somebody, he's more of a fringe. I feel like last year when he was healthy, he was more of a fringe flex player and not really an auto start as one of your 2 main running backs. But this year, I would be hard pressed to, if I had DeAndre Swift, to consider not starting him.
Yeah,
but
I had him last season, and it just crushed me. After so many weeks, I just stopped trying.
Dude,
'cause
yeah.
Jamal Williams always got the touchdown. It's he's not going to get any points. I just got nothing I can do.
Yeah, no, I can't say I was too upset with that, because Jamal Williams is one of the
he's
coolest
fun.
dudes. But
From that perspective, yeah, it was great.
no, Eagles, man, Howie Roseman, again and again, great, bought low on him. I don't even remember what the trade with that was for.
2nd rounder or something.
Something like that, but bought low on DeAndre Swift, and he's turned him into one of the best running backs in football this year. And you put a guy who's really good at breaking tackles, really elusive behind one of the best offensive lines I've ever seen. I don't know why somebody didn't think to do that. If maybe a team like the Lions, who has a great offensive line, they could definitely use somebody like that.
I feel like they had it. It's just how they utilized him that it just really never clicked. But I feel like they still have the potential to really. I feel like I don't want to say it's a win-win quite yet, but I feel like it's doing all right so far.
I mean, obviously, David Montgomery, that was another one, which, I don't really feel like that's a surprise since he was good last year, but, he's been phenomenal. I mean, in Jahmyr Gibbs, who, we saw didn't really get much attention until last week when Montgomery was hurt. He had 27 points. So, obviously the Lions aren't like hurting, or any, but I just think it's interesting how those kind of moves, come out. But all right, yeah, I'm glad we were able to have a good discussion on some fantasy football. I know it's not for everyone, but the ones who are into it, it's like it is a constant thing that you have to stay locked in from. But I know I love it. It kills me sometimes, but it's.
You want to know what kills? I still remember like the first year I did it. It's like, just having fun, 4-man league. Things was going all right. I got into the playoffs. I was in like the championship round.
Right.
And then it's the 2 games that you got to play. So onto the second game, I'm locked out of my account. This is the week after Antonio Brown had like taken off his jersey.
Oh no!
So
Before the CTE set in.
He's stuck on my roster.
No.
So I've got like one guy gone. And then all of a sudden, it's like it comes down to the end. Other guy has Keenan Allen for the last game. Chargers lose that heartbreaker. Keenan gets just enough. I lose by 1 fantasy point.
Oh,
it's a brutal night.
That's things you hate to see.
Yeah.
That.
Not a lot you can do.
I had something similar myself. I made a surprise run to the championship in my dynasty league last year as the 5 seed,
Nice.
which was pretty cool. I upset the number 1 team in the league. I remember. Well, funny story with that. The Christmas Day game, if you guys remember, which was the Rams versus the Broncos.
I
and
watched that one on Nickelodeon.
It was
Yeah.
so annoying. It was aired on Nickelodeon, and they had those like kid announcers and everything. And it was like, "Oh, I'm Patrick Star," like that.
They actually had the real voice of
Yeah.
Bill
That was honestly more
Bill
interesting than the
Fagerbaki. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have my 2 quarterbacks were Russell Wilson and Baker Mayfield. I chose to start Russ over Baker, and I watched Baker Mayfield have a decent game. He had like 16, 17 points. And I watched Russell Wilson throw 3 interceptions and like 125 yards. And this is, in the semifinals when I'm in, I have a chance to upset the number 1 seed in the league. And, as the day went on, I thought I was going to get put in the pavement. But as the games went on, I was like, that meme where it's like, he's starting to believe. I was starting to believe. I was like, wow, I'm only down by like 15 points. Like, this is possible. And then not only did I see the guy who I started just absolutely just take a nap during the game, but I saw the guy who I chose over him just have a decent game, who if I would have started, I would have been well on, and I ended up winning, so it's okay. But then, I was with my family since it was on Christmas Day, and I was furious. Like, I found out later, one of my aunts asked my mom, was like, "Is David okay? Like, he's just been like, he looked like he was like about like, I saw him like sitting on the couch and like his like fist was bald and he was like, his face was all red." And then I remember I went into the bathroom for like 15 minutes because like after the 3rd interception, and I remember after his 3rd interception, Patrick Star was like, "They shouldn't have let him cook." And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to punch a wall. I'm going to put my fist through this TV.
Or, oh, there's Russ Wilson, and then he throws the interception. Oh, no!
Yeah, I went into the bathroom, and I was like, oh my God, I'm about to have a full-on, like, manic episode in front of my whole family. And it was so bad to the point where a couple of my family members noticed that. But yeah, that's But then I ended up winning later, and I was like on top of the world. So it's just how the game works, man.
It is. I know for me, week 1, I was like down by a lot. I didn't think I had a chance. Dallas's defense on Monday night.
Oh,
They
yeah.
put up like 35 points.
That was
I
the,
lost by 1 point.
That was when they who'd they play? They played the Giants, and they beat them like 34-0, right?
Yeah, it was like just complete
Man.
blowout. The defense put up like 35 points.
Raise your hand if you had Tyrod Taylor outproducing Daniel Jones this year. Tyrod Taylor had 21 points
Never doubt T-Mobile, man.
That's such a sick nickname. All right. Well, man. Oh man, that was one of the most angry times I can ever remember myself. But yeah, so second topic, switching gears completely. It is NBA season, boys. As you can tell, I got the Bulls DeMar DeRozan jersey on. Have to represent for one of the only good players on our roster. But yeah, the regular season kicked off yesterday. The Nuggets beat the Lakers, as history would repeat itself, and then the Suns withstood a 27-5 run in the third quarter by the Warriors, and ended up beating them. So NBA season is off. I'm super excited. NBA is, I'm not going to say I like it more than football, but it's obviously a really fun time of year. So we already, on Sam's show a couple days ago, he had the cool topic to talk about like different NBA hot takes, which I'm pissed because he beat me to it. That was literally, I was going to say like, let's hear your hottest NBA. Let's hear Alex Caruso, Defensive Player of the Year. Let's hear some just crazy, like some barn burner takes, and then he had that. So I figured we could pivot a little and talk about who we think are going to win each different award in the end of the season race, which is still a pretty good topic, I feel like. So we're going to be talking about who we think is going to win MVP. I almost said Offensive Rookie of the Year, Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Coach of the Year, and CPTOY is Clutch Player of the Year, which if you guys didn't know is a new award that was just implemented last season, which I'm pissed because if it would have been implemented 2 seasons ago, who would have been the easy person to win it? So. Yeah, De'Aaron Fox won that last year for a frame of reference. But so yeah, we'll start over here with Zach. Let's hear MVP, Rookie of the Year. Or I guess we'll just go MVP. We'll go one award by one. That's probably a little bit easier. So who is your MVP for this season, Zach?
Jokic. All the way.
Can't hate that. Can't hate that. I feel like people are underrating him now because Giannis got Dame and like all these other teams, but like I feel like people are like. Just because he's already gotten a couple, but I feel like he still has to be in that conversation.
Yeah. How could you not say Jokic?
Yeah, triple-double machine. I saw something funny on Twitter like a day after the Dame trade, and it was like all these teams creating these super teams just to run into this man, and it's him like petting one of his horses. So yeah, Ryan, what about you, man? We got one Jokic.
It's Luka's year to win it.
I don't mind that at all. I like Luka a lot, man. I don't mind that at all. I think it is going to have to depend a lot on how the team around him does. But
I think, I think it's Luka's year for sure.
Okay.
He's been close the last like 2 years, but
yeah, I feel if he didn't get injured in 2021, I feel like he would have been.
He hasn't been really. Has he ever been a candidate?
He's been in the running. I feel like he's been in like the top. He was in the top 5 last year or 2 years ago. But I feel like if he didn't get injured in 2021, he missed like 30 games. I feel like he would have. Yeah.
Maybe.
So we got one Jokic, one Luka. What about you, Alex?
It's really tough because Luka I feel like has all the potential. I really feel like he can. It's going to be dependent upon what Kyrie Irving, what effect that's really going to have on him. It's going to weigh him down. I know at the end of last year everybody's like, oh, Kyrie Irving got there, they lost. But I did hear that they were tanking. So it's like maybe that's why they lost. Who's to say? I know I'm not a Kyrie believer, but then obviously with Jokic, that's like the universal constant is him like being in contention for the MVP racing. But one that could be interesting, and this is I'm not going to take credit. This was Carson's idea on yesterday's show, but one that you could maybe keep an eye on. Perhaps Dame could be something to watch out for.
Interesting.
If finally having a team is really what it takes, and he's able to like just have an explosive year and the proper stage and platform to really like elevate him. Who's to say? Yeah, that's definitely under the radar, but currently odds favored Jokic.
Okay, Rance, what about you?
I would have to say Jokic. Reason why is because he's been the best in the league for the past 5 years.
Something like that, yeah, definitely.
It's just Jokic, think about Jokic, what I like about him, basketball is not even his main sport.
Dude, I know it's funny. I see all these
it's not even his main sport, so it's like he's out there just chilling. I'm like,
yeah,
that's just,
right.
Oh, the man's averaging the triple double. Who do that as a big, bro?
Yeah, I feel like Jokic is the type of guy. He's kind of like Kawhi. Once he retires, we're never gonna hear from him again. He's just gonna be off in Serbia doing his own thing, riding his horses, and he won't ever appear in NBA media ever again. So for me, I'm gonna go. I also think Jokic is a really good option, and I think he should have won it last year over Joel. I think Joel kind of cried for that award. If anything, if you look at their numbers, Joel's numbers were closer to Jokic 2 years ago. I think I think Joel had the stronger argument in 2021 than in 2022. But I'm gonna go with one that I think could be kind of interesting. I'm gonna say Steph Curry.
Oh.
I think that could be. I think that could be an interesting one. I understand he's rapidly. Well, I don't want to say rapidly, but he's aging out of his prime for sure. But if the Warriors, if they can get, if Kuminga can take a step, and the Chris Paul trade works out, I mean, you saw he was dealing in that. He had like 7 assists in the third quarter alone yesterday. He was dealing with that second unit, and if they can be comfortably in the playoff consideration, I feel like he can definitely be a guy. And I know that it's crazy. I was gonna wait in case anyone said it, but nobody said Giannis, which I think is interesting.
I
But
said it yesterday.
I feel like the thing about Giannis is also kind of holds me back with Dame is that part of the MVP award is, having really good counting stats. And I feel like Dame being there and obviously being a super ball dominant player is going to take away from Giannis's counting stats a little bit. So I feel like the two of them will kind of cancel each other out for the MVP
Yeah.
a little bit.
I
that'll
think
be
another
interesting.
sleeper. I don't know. Hopefully he stays healthy this year. He hasn't really healthy the last couple of years. I'm with Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant. There we go. I've always been a big KD guy. I wouldn't hate
I
it.
have too.
I wouldn't hate it.
Been a long time.
But yeah, so we had Jokic, Luka,
I'll go with Jokic.
Jokic,
officially.
Dame. Okay, and then Jokic. I'm gonna go with Curry. But we'll say Dame
I'll
is
say
an interesting one.
Dame is like
Dame is an interesting one.
I just think if if Giannis and Dame they both averaged 30 points a game last season.
Yeah, I know, but then you put them together.
No, but if you put them together, who's the since Dame and Giannis are teammates on the Bucks, who would be your MVP?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, there's the old expression. It's like with the. I know this was thrown around a lot with the Brooklyn Nets, like with KD, Kyrie, and Harden. There's only one basketball, so not everyone can average 30 if they're on the same team. So that's going to be interesting. But anyways, next one is going to be Rookie of the Year, which I wonder who we're going to pick for this one. Rance, let's hear it.
Rookie of the Year, this year I'll have to go with Victor.
Yeah, I can't blame you for that.
I'll think again. I'll mix it up. Use something else.
Please. All right. 3, 2,
I'm not
1.
gonna say what you think I'm gonna
Oh,
say.
okay.
I don't think. The last time, like you started with an S, so it's not.
Okay.
But I'm gonna take another idea from somebody from yesterday's show, Drew Best. He went with Chet Holmgren because technically he still
okay.
counts as a rookie.
I
That's
like
the
that.
part that keeps surprising me is that he still counts
He's
as a
pulling
rookie.
up Ben Simmons.
Exactly, which I mean that always blows me away because I know with NFL that's not how it works in other
Right.
sports, but well, except for baseball, but that's completely different. But Chet Holmgren, I feel like it's what Victor Wembanyama, like that's what he was last year.
Right.
Except now
I
he's
feel like
already
everyone
bulked
forgot
up.
about him, kind of.
Exactly. So he's kind of under the radar and stuff, but I feel like that's most likely the best way to go.
I like that. Ryan?
It's definitely Victor Wembanyama.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like this one we might be able to go a little.
No, because I saw a video where Dallas is playing in San Antonio tonight,
Right.
and then I saw a video, a short video where during Dallas's practice, the coaches have pads,
That they try to block the ball with, right?
So
Yeah.
They try to block the ball with is Victor Wembanyama's 7'4". He has an 8 wingspan.
Right.
So
Yeah. No, I mean he's obviously the favorite, so I
I
can't.
think I think he's gonna win unanimous.
Okay. I think yeah. I think the only thing with Victor is his injury concern because I mean, Chet guarded LeBron for one possession in the Drew League and tore his AC or something like that. Like that's the health with
Broken.
guys with that type of Kristaps Porzingis body style. I feel like is going to be the biggest deterrent
Maybe even
factor.
Kevin Durant style.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's probably the pioneer of it. But yeah, Zach, what about you?
Victor Wembanyama all the way.
All right. Now, again, I knew that this one was probably going to be a little a little bit easier. I'm going to go a different way, just because I'm trying to think of what happened. Like, obviously, with like guys like Zion and people who we thought were going to just be slam dunks. I'm going to go with Scoot Henderson. I feel like I think Scoot Henderson would be the number 1 overall pick in literally any other draft. I would take him over Cade Cunningham. I would probably take him over Paulo Banchero. I'm extremely high on Scoot Henderson. I think he's going to be the heir apparent to Dame. I think he's going to be a top 10 point guard in the next 3 years. I could not be more bought in on his skill set, and I think that I'm going to bank on the fact, which I never like to wish injuries on players, but just knowing how players with Wembanyama's body type kind of have to adjust to a higher level of competition. I'm going to say that Wembanyama probably gets hurt, and I think Scoot is now unquestionably the face of Portland. There's some other talent in there, like Anthony Simons is solid, Shadon Sharp is solid. They still got they re-signed Jeremy Grant, which looks kind of weird now that Dame is gone. You got this team of 21, 22, 23-year-olds, and then you got a 31-year-old decent guy who is literally built to help a contender and not a rebuilding team. So but yeah, I'm very high on Scoot Henderson. I see him as kind of like a mixture of Ja Morant and Derrick Rose, that type of physical slasher type of player. So I'm gonna go with him. But anyways, next up we have Defensive Player of the Year, which this one I think could get a little interesting. We started with Rance last time, so let's go with Zach.
So for Defensive Player of the Year, I think I'm going to go with Jaren Jackson Jr.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Good.
I think he's definitely the favorite.
Did he win it last year?
I believe so.
He did.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think the thing with him is he missed 40 games 2 years ago with some a foot in, I think he had a Linsfranc injury. He's just got to stay healthy. But I like that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, he has a good chance.
Yeah. What about you, Ryan?
Sam, I have to go with the Jaren Jackson Jr.
Okay. All right.
I just think with the way he plays the game of defense, you can't stop him.
Yeah. All right. Alex, what about you?
Since I feel like I always gotta try and mix things up a little
Right.
bit, I'm gonna say Giannis actually,
That's
because I feel like
perfectly reasonable.
having Dame now, he'll be able to kind of take over more the offensive side, be the one shooting, scoring the points. And then with Giannis, he can more just work in the middle, and then he can also focus more on the defensive side and just kind of be more of the physical bullying type rather than
Right.
really having to worry about the offense or scoring or anything like that.
Okay. Ryan, so what about you? like
With
that a
me,
lot.
I would have to say Evan Mobley.
Okay.
The reason why I say Evan Mobley is because he can guard 1 to the 5 efficiently.
Yeah.
He's so versatile on defense. With his on-ball defense is on point. His paint defense is on point. And then they also got Jared Allen too. So
Jared Allen, yeah.
With them two in the paint, nobody
Right.
can what people can do. Nobody can do anything in the paint with them.
Yeah, no, I feel like I definitely think he has the physical tools and the wingspan to be a really good shot blocker. I think he needs to get a little stronger. We saw in the playoffs last year versus the Knicks, Mitchell Robinson kind of had his way with him. That sounded weird, but he did. He really did. He kind of got bullied, but I definitely feel like if he can put on maybe 15, 20 pounds of muscle, he could. Yeah.
I think another sleeper guy who could be who could probably win it. Evan Mobley.
Yeah, no, that's what Rance was just talking about.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, he said no, I definitely agree. Yeah, if he could just put on a little muscle,
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Hit the weights.
I'm gonna go with I feel like we're all talking about big man, but I have to mention him just because I feel like he gets so disrespected. My pick this year is Bam Adebayo. I feel like he's been one of the more disrespected defenders last couple of years. He was second in blocks. He was top 5 in defensive plus minus, and I saw some stat. The Heat were I think they were minus 17 points allowed when he was on the floor, minus plus 17 when he was off the floor, which disparity of points allowed when a certain player's on the floor was number 1 in basketball, the highest in the NBA. And, obviously, I feel like advanced stats like that, like I'm an advanced stats nerd, so I just kind of like salivate with stuff like that. But that doesn't, I feel like the people who make the awards don't always really take that into consideration. But the fact that he wasn't even a DPOY finalist last year was a little bit weird to me. And I feel like, he's a great shot blocker. I mean, I think, if you guys remember back in the bubble with game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals, he has what is to me still one of a top 3 greatest block of all time when he got that block on Jason Tatum when he literally cocked back for a dunk and it just hit Bam's hand and then he just forced it back. If you guys know what dunk I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That dunk is right up there with Iguodala blocked by James, and then Giannis's block on DeAndre Ayton. It's those 3, in my opinion, are the 3 greatest blocks in NBA playoff history. And I feel like Bam doesn't get enough credit. He's only 25. He hasn't even entered his prime yet. And he's a huge reason that the Heat were able to go on that run. His presence in the paint, it absolutely nullified the Knicks. And it did a really good job of shutting down Al Horford and Robert Williams and guys like that. So, yeah, I think Miles Turner is also another guy to keep your name. I mean, he's more of just a set shot blocker, but I think he would be a really interesting one as well. But let's fourth one, and again, this one I feel like it could also, we could have some discussions. Coach of the year. Let's start with Rance. Who do you think Coach of the year will be this year? It was Mike Brown last year, the Kings, just for reference.
Coach of the year this year, I'll have to go with Steve Kerr.
Never a bad pick. Yeah, definitely. I mean, if they can rebound a little. Yeah.
Just the reason why I say Steve Kerr, 'cause it's the Warriors, and then 2, it's we already know the Warriors gonna make it to the playoffs. It's just a matter of fact of how they're gonna do in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
So yeah. So that's my pick.
Alex, what about you?
I'm gonna go with. I'll try and go some a little oddball. Since with last year it was Brown for the Kings and whatnot, that was the unexpected superstar. Well, I shouldn't say superstar, but the up and coming rising star team and stuff. Nobody saw him coming, and then they just were able to do some great things. I'm expecting that from the Thunder this year.
Oh, no way! That was gonna be mine too.
And I'm gonna go with him.
Mike Daigneault.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was gonna be mine
too. Say it
too.
first because I want you to pronounce
That was
it.
gonna be that stuff.
Got that.
They're like my Cavs. They're gonna be this year's Cavs for me, in my opinion. I could not. I'm bought in on what the Thunder are doing.
Absolutely.
Well, you don't think so?
That team's still too young to me.
That's
Dude,
fair.
you saw. But I mean, look at SGA last year, man.
Well, I mean, yeah, but
And then Jalen, they got Jalen Williams, and we still don't know what Chet's gonna be doing. I
lot
think.
could pivot on
Plus,
him.
I think just because the West is a little bit weaker this year, it's kind of top heavy. You got the Warriors, Suns, and Nuggets, and then I feel 5 through 8 could really be debated.
That's how it was last year.
Wow, let's go. What about you, Ryan?
I'm gonna go with Steve Kerr.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, no, I mean,
I just think if Draymond, Clay, Steph, we're supposed to healthy, they'll make a run for another championship.
Yeah, they always do.
the West is definitely a little bit. The West is definitely the way it is. It's a little bit. It's open this year. I can respect that. Zach, how about you?
I think I'm gonna go with Adrian Griffin.
Okay.
Yeah, why not? I'll go with
Yeah,
him.
I mean, obviously he has all the tools to succeed. So
Yeah, for sure.
I can understand that. After thinking it over, I was actually going to go OKC, but I'll pivot to my second favorite coach, or the second best coach in the league, who was also actually on the Thunder. I'm gonna have to go with Billy Donovan. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Oh, how I would wish, though. Oh, how I would wish. Wow. I'm actually. If you're not going to go that way, I know this is a huge topic of debate on yesterday's show with Drew Best talking about this specific person and how they rank in terms of all-time coaches. But gonna have to go with Eric Spoelstra
Nice.
then.
It is odds-on favorite to win it. So
Yeah, I mean, I think the Heat have kind of proven in the past that they can do more with less, and they don't really need like a star-studded roster in order to compete. The way that they've developed guys like Gabe Vincent, Caleb Martin, Max Strus, and then even last year like Omer Yurtseven and guys like that. Obviously that has a lot to do with their player development program, but I mean, I feel like Eric Spoelstra deserves a lot of the credit for how those guys, Duncan Robinson, how all those guys have come into their own as well. And outside of 2 years ago in the Eastern Conference Finals, I cannot think, and I was remembering this in the group chat yesterday, but outside of 2 years ago in the Eastern Conference Finals, Game 7 against the Celtics, I cannot think of a single playoff series where Eric Spoelstra has been outcoached. I can't do it. That series, I do feel like that was the Ime Udoka team that made it to the finals for reference. But outside of that, I cannot think of a series where Spoelstra has been outcoached, and I think it's going to be very interesting to see how he navigates just an absolute juggernaut-loaded East this year. Sorry, but finally, in this one, I feel like is going to be pretty interesting as well. Clutch Player of the Year, which for those of you who don't know, being like the award is determined on points per game and scoring ability, or just overall ability within the last 5 minutes of a game that is within 5 points. So basically, crunch time or clutch time in the NBA is defined as games that are less than 5 points apart in the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter. That's crunch time. So that's what like the people who make the NBA awards base who's going to win that award off. So like for reference, like De'Aaron Fox last year had the highest points per game average in the fourth quarter. So that's why he won it. Think of some clutch players. So Rance, we'll start with you.
Clutch players. I would have to either go between DeMar DeRozan or De'Aaron Fox. Like, I mean, the reason why I said DeMar DeRozan because like 2 years ago, like, look what he did.
Oh my God! Remember those back-to-back game winners he had right at the start of the year? Oh,
That was crazy. But,
take me back. We were the 1 seed in the
but
East.
nah, like I would have to say, I would have to say DeMar DeRozan for this year. Like,
I love that. I absolutely love that.
I would have to say DeMar.
Alex, how about you?
you want to know? I'll gonna go with a guy who's made a bit of a legacy off of clutch, maybe not in the most impactful ways or on the brightest, biggest stages, but he did earn a nickname for it, and I'm gonna go with Dame Time. I feel like
Beautiful.
it's just
Can't hate it.
that's where the nickname came from. That's
Right.
what he's kind of built off of, and now that there's an award for it, he's got again the platform. I think that's a huge thing.
Right.
It should be able to give him recognition and hopefully the opportunities for it as well.
Yeah, I feel like it's something that really should have been added sooner. 'Cause
Yeah.
There's like,
I mean, it's an interesting concept, though. I mean, like, it's something people have always, like, maybe talked about, but as an award, it's tougher to judge it. But as you said, there's, like, 5 minutes, points,
right.
distance, things like that.
Okay, Ryan, how about you? It's a great pick,
This
Alex.
guy's always clutch. Steph Curry.
Okay,
I
yeah.
think I just think he'll hit like he always his game. If the Warriors always play a close game in the fourth quarter, he's always gonna hit.
You know the ball is going to be in his hands.
Yeah, Chris Paul just give the ball to Steph,
And get out of the way.
and then just make a three.
Yeah, no, definitely. He definitely has to be in that conversation. I like that a lot. Zach, what about you?
I'm gonna go with Jimmy Butler.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay.
You just look at them last year. Look at him last year with the Heat. Remember, they barely made the playoffs last year. And look, they just got in the NBA final,
Yep.
even though they lost. But just look how.
Literally in
Yeah.
the playoff game versus the Bulls. You know, our claim to fame as a Bulls fan, we should have a banner for this. We were beating the team that made the finals with like 2.5 minutes left to go in the play-in, which, if you ask me, is better than making the finals itself. But yeah, no, that was gonna be who I picked. But yeah, just man, it's you think about a guy like Jimmy, and it's like he's not really a good shooter, like a good 3-point shooter, but he's just so good at scoring just in different ways. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, no doubt.
in that series against the Bucks, like he shot like 31% from 3 in the regular season, but he made like 5 straight threes. It's just when the moment is bigger, he rises to the occasion. That's an amazing pick, Zach. Well, now that Zach picked my guy, I'll keep it a little interesting. I'll pivot to my fallback, which is a guy. I mean, he definitely isn't underrated anymore, but I feel like he's still not the first guy you think about when you think of like really clutch guards. I'm gonna go with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, a guy I am insanely high on. I absolutely love Shai. I think that was one of the like absolute steals of the draft in the past like 5 years, taking a guy who is already a top 3 player at his position, and in my opinion already, like, I'd say right now he's at the very lowest like a top 12 player in the NBA. He averaged 31 points per game last year and on pretty good efficiency too. It's not like he was just, it's not like he was just going to be doing what Jordan Poole's going to be doing this year, just averaging like 28 points per game on 28 shots per game. Yeah, I think Shai is, he was 3rd in fourth quarter points in the regular season, and he also had, I know that they lost in the play-in, but he also had 15 points in the fourth quarter versus the Pelicans last year in that play-in game that they lost. And I think that him going in 18, and it was an absolute travesty. I saw him play. I have family who lives in Lexington, and I actually saw him play at a Kentucky game in 2018, and he didn't hit a game winner, but he hit like a last second 3 versus Auburn with like 5 seconds left, and I was like, wow, like that's crazy. But that's some great picks, guys. I think we really got some good thoughts in. Unfortunately, we're not gonna have. Actually, you know what? Because his team just lost, and I know he's got to be feeling bad. Zach, let's just make this topic exclusively for you for a couple minutes. How are you feeling about them Phillies, man?
I don't know what to say. Just a bit. I'm just saying it's a huge upset. Offense just couldn't get going. I mean, look at last night. Bryce Harper 0 for 4, and then Trey Turner too. And and my guy Trey Turner, man, is like, what happened?
$600 million, man. Oh, it's tough.
Hey, he's still gonna be worth the 11-year deal. Trust me, he will be.
Yeah. But I saw, and I was saying before the show started, saw something on Instagram that between what I would consider to be the Phillies' 4 best hitters, Turner, Harper, Schwarber, and Castellanos, they were 1 for 45 in games 6 and 7 of this series.
Trying to remember what was that one for? Was it?
Oh, it was the Schwarber home run.
Schwarbomb, yeah.
Which of course it was a home run.
Yeah.
Oh man. I love it when my leadoff hitter is batting 185. He's good though. I'm not trying to hate. Mm-hmm. But so you how are you feeling? You think that you guys will be able to run it back next season?
Yeah, they're gonna turn it around, but it's just a shame that they got out, because I felt like if they were to make the World Series, they would have a really great chance against the Rangers.
Mm-hmm. I mean, nobody's a free agent, are they?
No.
Wait, one player. What do you think they're gonna do? And this, I think, is actually kind of interesting. What do you think is gonna happen with Rhys Hoskins? That's a guy everyone forgot about, but he was a huge part of the team last year.
I love that they keep him, but that's just up to them.
Yeah, I think with Harper kind of transitioning into first base in the last half of the season, if he can stay there and that can open up the outfield, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's gonna happen with Hoskins, but
he's doing 10 times better on first base than Schwarber. I'll just say that too.
Yeah. But anyone else got any thoughts about the Phillies?
Yeah, I mean, for Arizona, I think I did pick Arizona to make the World
You
Series.
did. I remember that. I remember I said, I was like, they could be this year's Phillies, which is actually so ironic that they ended up having to beat the Phillies to get it. But they really are. They're the last team to make the postseason. They were the 6th seed. They end up just making this crazy run, and now they've gone from the last team in to the last team standing in the NL, which is crazy. So hats off to Ryan, who predicted that, and hats off to Alex, who just mentioned the Brewers curse, which
you gotta have faith.
somehow,
So
some way,
consistent.
still prevails.
If nothing else, that's a nice silver. I don't know. I'm mixed about it. It's like, it sucks that it keeps happening.
Right.
interesting that it keeps happening. At this point, it's just really comical that it keeps happening. Like, I just can't believe it. But I'm glad, if nothing else, at least like for both the championship games, it went to game sevens. It wasn't just a sweep. Like, we
Facts.
finally had something interesting to latch
Facts.
onto.
A lot of people had said that this was a pretty boring postseason
It really was.
before that, and then I mean, man, that Astros Rangers series really rectified that with that whole Adolis Garcia Brian Abreu thing. Adolis Garcia, man, got to take a second. What an absolute monster! Postseason record: 15 RBIs in one series. He had 5 home runs in 7 at bats. That oh my God, yeah, this is man, Adolis Garcia versus Ketel Marte is going to be such an interesting matchup. Real quick, we got 5 minutes left. Who do you guys think is going to win the World Series? Rance, how about you? Rangers or Diamondbacks?
I'm going to have to say Rangers.
Okay, yeah. Alex?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Rangers. I feel like they've more so bought the talent, where with the Diamondbacks, it was more development, trades, things like
Right.
that. Theirs was a smaller scale.
Right. Ryan? I already.
Arizona in 6.
Arizona in 6. Okay. What about you, Zach?
Rangers. Sorry, Arizona.
Dude, I know I want to say the Rangers so bad because I did predict them. I'll toot myself on the horn a little. I'll toot my own horn a little bit. I did say Rangers. I also said Braves though, so keep in mind it
Can't
was
win
just
them all.
scales were tipped. But the Rangers have looked solid. But I mean the every time we count out the Diamondbacks, their bullpen, they have legitimately had the best bullpen in the playoffs, which is crazy because, after Saul Frank and Ginkel, they don't really have many big names. And even those guys aren't guys you really think of when you think of good quality relievers. But, it's just, it's tough to go. It's tough, it's tough to go against the Diamondbacks. I'm still going to go Rangers because that's who I thought of. And I think their pitching is a little deeper. Scherzer looked more like himself, and they got Montgomery, they got Jordan Hicks, they have Dane Dunning, who's super underrated, they have Nathan Eovaldi. After Merrill Kelly and Zach Gallen, I feel like the D-backs pitching rotation is a little bit less secure. I will say though, and I'm sad Carson's not here, but Paul Sewald is looking like a great acquisition. He's been absolutely lights out in the postseason. D-backs definitely have the advantage in the closer spot, but yeah. Sorry we didn't get to talk about that more, but that's just sometimes how it goes. As a host, the number one thing I'd hate to do is kill off a good conversation just to keep it moving. If we're having a good conversation and takes are flowing, I'd hate to cut that off just to get to another topic. But yeah, that is going to be it for the baseball. Now we have a couple minutes left. Let's go into final thoughts. So Rance, any final thoughts today? We actually have a couple minutes for it now, and not 10 seconds.
This is new territory.
Final thoughts today. I'm just waiting to see what the NBA season going
Right.
Gonna happen this year.
Mm-hmm.
Just wait. I'm really trying to see what Victor gonna do this year.
Right.
That's what I'm really trying to.
Right. Yeah, I feel like it takes maybe 20, 30 games to really see who's contending, who's yeah. So, yeah, I agree. I'm really happy it's back up. Alex, how about you?
For me, not so much sports related, but for the radio tomorrow, the Homecoming Talent Show will be going on.
Right.
I, myself, Carson, who's not here, and then John, we're all going to be representing the radio at the talent show, doing a little band performance. So that starts at 7. We are the openers. Feel free to go check that out.
Oh, beautiful. I think that'll be streamed. Make sure to tune. I'm correct. I'm not sure about this. It might be streamed on UWW TV.
That'd be cool.
But yeah, make sure to go support them. Good luck, guys.
Thank you.
Brian.
My final thought is what I just learned is that the NBA is going back to the original Western Conference versus Eastern
West
Conference
East All-Star game. Yeah.
games.
No more drafts.
Yeah.
So that's gonna.
The NFL had done that one time too.
Yeah.
They had done weird drafts, and then they
glad
went back
that's
to
happening.
AFC, NFC.
Yeah, so that's going to be interesting. I feel like there was a couple funny moments with the drafts, like when Katie picked Rudy Gobert over James Harden just because he was pissed at him that he requested a trade. I feel like stuff like that isn't going to happen anymore, but it'd still be funny. Zach, what about you?
So tomorrow night, Thursday, football. Baker Mayfield and the Bucks go take on Josh Allen and the Bills, who right now, believe it or not, Bills are 4-3 right now.
Wow.
It's lately, it's what's been going on with Josh Allen?
Yeah, that
now?
Patriots loss was bad.
Yeah,
was
that
really
too.
That was terrible.
Never a good look when your secondary gets carved up by Mac Jones. But yeah, that's gonna be. I'm glad you brought that up. That's gonna be a really interesting game. But yeah, final thoughts from me. Excited for football. We got my Bengals are going up against the Brock Purdy-less 49ers. So hopefully we're able to get over 500 for the first time this season and kind of right the ship in the AFC North. But anyway, guys, that is going to do it for another episode of Hawk Talk. I really hope you guys enjoyed the show. We covered some great topics today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys later.
Hi, this is Pierce.